Governor, good to see you, and thank you so much for taking the time on the subject. So for maybe many watching right now, you went on to say in that article how Tennessee is a leading example of what can be accomplished when education is functioning primarily at the state level. And that's what we wanted you to hone in. If you could elaborate on that, operating at a state level.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Emma, for having me. And this is a topic that is incredibly important to me. It's important to Tennessee. It's important to America. There's nothing more important for the future of our country than the future of our children. And so education obviously is something that we're all focused on finding a better way forward. And you know, we all send our hard-earned dollars to Washington. That money comes back to states through programs like the Department of Education federally. It comes back to Tennessee, but it's reduced. It's siphoned off. It's used to create that bureaucracy that's in D.C. that really does nothing for us as a state. And we've seen that since 1979, since it started, nothing has improved. The strings that are attached have been increased. The hurdles have been larger, but nothing's come that's been any better for our people and for our children. So I'm a strong advocate of making sure that we're more efficiently using tax dollars, and that's really what this is about. You asked about ways that Tennessee believes they could do this better. You know, we actually negotiated a waiver or worked together with the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, a waiver for Medicaid that saved our state and the federal government $1 billion. When states have the authority and the ability to use federal funds, we do it much more efficiently, and the children in our state will be much better served.
Yeah, and something has to change, right? If you want to overall improve test scores, reading rates, you know, score well on solving your math problems here, is there something that can be done almost immediately in an effort to improve the quality of education of students in your state?
You know, you are so right that something has to change. You know, I ran a company for 25 years before I got involved in politics. You have continuous improvement plans in business every year. You do strategic planning changes and initiatives every year. You moved to stay ahead of the changes in an industry. And yet our education system in this country has basically stayed the same for decades. We're doing things the same today that we did decades ago. And that has to change. This is a challenge to the status quo. It's actually what's happening in the federal government, all across the federal government right now. I think that's why Americans are so encouraged about what's happening, because what's been happening for decades has been nothing but growing the bureaucracy there to no benefit to those of us out here in the states that are trying to make it done. We do have ideas about how we can improve our system. In fact, Tennessee has been very aggressive post-COVID on specific literacy focus and on school summer bridge camps. And we called a special session. And our outcomes in Tennessee are ahead of the national average post-COVID. But there's more that we can do. And if we had the sort of unfettered access to the dollars that come through the federal government without the strings attached from the federal Department of Education, we know we could do more for our kids.
Sure. And aside from grades and, again, increasing scores, a lot of this had to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion, gutting that out, gutting DEI out. Do you believe that DEI should be in place for all K through 12, or do you not?
Hey, we need to go back to the basics. Most every parent will tell you that. They want their children to be taught reading and writing and arithmetic and academics. That's what school is for. It is to prepare a kid for a job going forward. And I'll say this too. I'm a strong believer that we have to empower parents. And one of the things that I'm so grateful to President Trump for, he's come in, he's appointed Secretary McMahon, who fully understands that we need to put parents more in charge of their children's education and the decision making around that. That's why he's been such a strong advocate for school choice. In Tennessee, we just passed universal school choice, and President Trump was very supportive of that, very helpful for us in getting that done. When we eliminate the government and empower the parents, we will find success in this country
Sure.
going forward in education.